Well, the Western media continues to ignore the Ukrainian attacks on residential areas of Russia, including areas inside of pre-war Russia. Over the past 24 hours, we've seen intense attacks by NATO and Ukrainian forces into residential areas in the Belgorod region, which is about 1,000 kilometers or so away from what we were just talking about there in the flooding at the dam site, and including attacks on grocery stores, apartment complexes, again, houses, residential streets, playgrounds. Journalist Patrick Lancaster is in those areas right now, and he just filed this exclusive report for Redacted.
I'm Patrick Lancaster, arriving in Shebekino, Russia, on the border, just a few kilometers from the border of Ukraine, where Ukraine has been launching a massive attack on this city. It's been estimated by the governor that over 600 shells have come down. And we're here to show you today what the real situation is, as we can hear shelling. This is a special update for Redacted. I'm Patrick Lancaster here in Shebekino, Russia, in the Belgorod region, where in the last days and weeks there's been a huge increase in attacks by Ukrainian forces. Just behind me, this fire department is fighting this fire in this garage area here, where there was several impacts today. And we can see this is in a residential area. On one side, apartment buildings. On the other side, forested area. And we've already seen several locations hit just today. The governor of the area says that there has been over 600 shells launched on this town in the last 2 days. Over here we can see the impact hole from one of the impacts of one of the shells that came from that direction, which in that direction is just a few kilometers Ukrainian territory, the Ukrainian border. So no question where these shells are coming from. We're just going to do our best to show everyone what's happening here. This is an update especially for Redacted, and we're going to bring you more as it comes. And you can see the extended version on my YouTube channel, Patrick Lancaster. We've got a lot more to come. All right, now we've just moved just up the way, still in the same street as the other attacks. Street Lenin. This one's address 111. We can see home destroyed. This didn't happen as recently as what we just saw, but another home destroyed by Ukrainian shelling. And we're going to keep pushing on, find out what more information we can find. We see fire up ahead. Not sure if we're going to be able to get to it or not. All right, so we've moved on to a different part of the city, not too far from where we were before. But this is the street Железная Дорога, which translates into railway or railroad. And we can see this apartment block here took a direct hit this morning. Apartment still smoldering. It appears possibly the fire department was already here and tried their best to put out the fire, and it's just smoldering a little bit. But let's go in and take a look. We're inside at the door of one of our apartment that's still smoldering, and this wall is almost red hot. We can see the paint melting off. And I don't think we're going to go too far in, but just to give you a little bit of a look. Just too dangerous to go any farther in. The smoke's pretty heavy. All right, so we just came to a Petorka grocery store, as they call it, number 5 grocery store they call it in Russia. And we see there's another impact here, much shrapnel on the ground. Apparently a different type of ammunition was used. This wasn't what we just heard, the incoming, but another type. See the apartment here destroyed, or the grocery store back of it destroyed. Big impact here. Cars destroyed. No military vehicles here or anything of the sort. Just civilian areas under attack from Ukrainian forces. And here we can see inside the windows of this grocery store. Freezers, refrigerators, and look here in this cart here. I'm not sure if you can see that. Eggs roasted by the flames. All right, we're here in the very center. We see this market, a big hole in the side of this building. You see one lone man we were just talking to, still living in this apartment. Says all his neighbors, his wife, everyone is evacuated, but he just doesn't feel he can do it. And he was actually born in Ukraine. He doesn't understand why Ukraine is shelling and hammering the civilian areas here. All right, and we've shown you everything we can here. We made it to the center of the center, shown you a lot of destruction here in Shebekino. Right now, we're in front of the House of Culture, in front of the I Love Shebekino sign here. Seen 99% of the town here is evacuated, still some people, but this is a life here in Shebekino, Russia, under constant Ukrainian shelling. We've heard many shells today, not too many got too close, which is great. We had some grads that we were a little nervous about, but we're showing you everything here on the ground. And you see what we see. And this has been a special update from Shebekino, Russia for Redacted.
Thank you, Patrick. Patrick Lancaster reporting for Redacted this afternoon from Shebekino. We really appreciate it. Yeah. Under constant shelling in those areas. And thank you to everyone watching right now who subscribes and supports independent journalism. Chances are you're not going to see this coverage on CNN or the mainstream media because they don't want you to see this. So
no, you don't get a lot of actual war footage. Not that that's something we want to see. We want to live in a world where there's no war to have any footage of. Right. But when you think about how CNN really got their start around the Iraq wars and how, because we at least got to see images of things like that to make it real to us, and that built a whole news network. Well, what do we see now is mostly images of the Ukrainian army kind of mulling about equipment, right? Still images and phony headlines.
Well, CNN actually were the ones that admitted that Ukraine has kept reporters from covering the front lines of this war. Of course, they famously did we've got an exclusive where we get to go to the front lines with Ukraine, with the Ukrainian military. Wow. Really? You got an exclusive where they're going to let you see what's actually happening? Right. What happened to war correspondents? Of course, when Zelensky and the Ukrainians nationalized the media, there are no journalists in Ukraine actually covering this anymore from the national perspective. Go ahead, David.
That's what I was going to say. It's like people don't understand how much danger these people's lives are in on a daily basis to bring you that kind of coverage. And there's so many anchors and stuff on like you said, there's no there's no war journalists anymore that are stepping out of their ivory tower to go out from behind their teleprompter to go cover this stuff. And so that's what makes propaganda easy, because there's no coverage, there's no footage of it. So just hats off to Patrick for putting his life in danger to bring us the news.
Yeah, I mean, we should be skeptical about a war where the technology is better, but the coverage is worse than the original Iraq war that made CNN famous. Yeah. And just today, the news that CNN has ousted Chris Licht as the head of the network now. I mean, it really says something when CNN has terrible ratings during wartime.
Right.
You know, right. I mean, not that again, I would love to live in a world where there's no war to cover at all, and the media just has to do better, do different things. But that's not the world we live in. So the fact that we get so little access to actually seeing what's going on, have to trust these bullcrap headlines, and see so few things. So we really appreciate this inside scoop from Patrick Lancaster, and we appreciate the sacrifices he's making to show us those things.
We have links to Patrick's work in our description below as well, so please check that out. Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.